kind of the neighborhood where I grew up.
We asked Xavier to take us someplace the tourists don't go.
I have to disrobe partially.
We really had no idea what to expect.
That's not good.
And we certainly didn't anticipate the crazy ending. We had one day to spend in Quito, Ecuador, and it was memorable.
This is kind of the example of Quito like 45 years ago. You can see the street with no pavements, a lot of green areas. But now, after 45 years, we have a huge city. We are indigenous. We are half blood. We are like a mestizos. Also, I considering indigenous as well everybody here. We are in a Buenos Aires neighborhood. It's a small neighborhood just on the east side of the central Quito. From here you can see the north area, the old town behind there, and the south Quito. I bring Amelia and Mr. JP here because I want to show regular people. As we saw before, a couple guys with cows just crossing on the main street. This is kind of the neighborhood where I grew up. The street was like this, cows, pigs, sheep, and of course guinea pigs. Dogs anywhere. People know each other, but also, we are very lucky because we have chances to enjoy the beautiful view.
The air is so fresh and clean here, and the views are stunning. I'm really glad Xavier took us off the beaten path today.
Xavier told us that he grew up in a neighborhood a lot like this, and they didn't have running water or electricity. So every day they would have to hike down to the valley below and go to the river to get water and then trek it back up. And it's about 10,000 feet up here, and it's hard to breathe. He said they used to race each other up these hills. I would not win that race. Back in 2015, a spinal injury nearly killed me. After 2 major surgeries that cost almost $1 million, we couldn't afford health insurance or health care in the US anymore, so we had to leave home. However, it was the best thing that could have happened to us. We are so grateful for our higher quality of life here in Ecuador. And while I may not be able to win any foot races, I'm very thankful that I can walk.
You gonna make it, JP?
I don't know.
Well, good thing the air is so fresh and clean because we're breathing really heavy.
It's fresh and clean because there's very little of it. For those of you who read my newsletter, you might recognize this behind me. This is the American Park I wrote about several weeks ago. This is just like a carnival in the United States. They have this, it moves around to different neighborhoods here in Quito. It's in a different spot every month, and we just happened to stumble across it today. We really enjoyed stepping back in time in the Buenos Aires neighborhood of Quito, but the wind was already starting to cause problems for my tiny drone, and the clouds were starting to multiply. So we hurried down into the city to capture 2 things that have been on my drone bucket list for a long time. You can see those stairs behind me there. We asked Xavier if we could walk up those to the statue of Mary, and he said it's not really a safe area. The locals in that neighborhood do not like tourists trekking through their neighborhood, so they kind of tend to harass the tourists. He said he could call us a bodyguard that lives in the neighborhood if we wanted to. We opted to just drive to the top, and kind of glad we did. It was much easier than hiking up those stairs. Amelia she's trying to kill me today with these hikes upstairs at all this elevation.
It's good for him, and it's good for me. I need it too.
I like how everything that hurts, she tells me is good for me. Our next stop is a very popular tourist attraction in the center of Quito. You get amazing panoramic views of the city, and you can see the basilica from there. This small volcanic peak that sits between North and South Quito is called El Panecillo, which translates to small piece of bread because it looks like a bun.
We woke up this morning and we were so disappointed because we saw lots of clouds and we thought, oh great, once again the weather is going to ruin our plans, because every time we try to come to Quito and film, we end up with really gray, cloudy skies. And so we're really happy, but we got to keep moving so that we beat the clouds because they're definitely coming in. So let's see if the drone will work up here at this elevation, JP,
I know,
again.
the drone does not like this high elevation, and once I get up about 100 feet, the wind is really brutal, so it's not enjoying its flying today. At 135 feet or 41 meters tall, the Virgin of Quito, depicting a winged Virgin Mary, is even taller than the famous Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil, and it's the tallest aluminum statue in the world. It's made of 7,400 pieces of aluminum that were shipped from Spain and assembled here in Ecuador. The statue was inaugurated in 1975.
Ready to go inside?
Yes. The entry fee is $1, where you'll find a museum and lots of history, but that is not even the best part.
Careful.
No railing.
Well, it's a very narrow stairway. Oh, wow.
The 360-degree views of Quito from the observation deck are just incredible. Well, I was really happy to be able to fly the drone, but the drone was not as happy. It is so windy up here. I had it full force going forward, and it was just hovering in one spot. And if I let up on the gas, the wind just took it faster than it normally can fly. So I'm really thankful that it didn't crash into Mary or crash into the dirt or go somewhere where I couldn't find it.
But you did have an injury, JP. JP had a drone, his first ever drone injury.
Yeah, because I like to catch it in the air rather than landing it because of my bad back. And I accidentally got my finger stuck in the blade, and it's not too bad, but it's a little bloody and it chopped off my fingernail, but I'll survive. We saw a lot of dogs on El Panecillo and throughout Quito. Most of them are very friendly and many have homes, but you'll occasionally see packs running around, which can be scary. The situation has gotten better since we moved here 5 years ago, but there is still a long way to go. I should have stopped while I was ahead with the drone, but there was one more iconic place I really wanted to capture before we called it a day. Quito is amazing for so many different reasons, and it's a great place to visit on your next trip to Ecuador. Quito is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means it has a lot of cultural and historical significance, but that is a massive understatement. Back in 1809, a small group of rebels became the first in all of Latin America to fight for freedom against Spanish rule. The rebellion was quickly put down, unfortunately, but their bravery inspired others, and over the next 20 years, the dominoes began to fall throughout Latin America. Ecuador gained its own independence from Spain in 1830, following the Battle of Pichincha, which was also in Quito. The name Ecuador was chosen because the equator runs through the country. You can also visit Mitad del Mundo, or the center of the world, and stand in both the northern and southern hemispheres at the same time. You could also take a ride up Teleférico, which is one of the highest cable cars in the world, topping out at 13,000 feet or 4,000 meters. But be sure to dress warm because it gets cold up there, and wear lots of sunscreen because the sun is intense. You might expect Quito to be hot since it's on the equator, but it's surprisingly very cool, and daily highs are just in the 60s and 70s, with nightly lows in the 40s and 50s Fahrenheit. It also rains a lot, so bring warm weather clothes, a rain jacket, and an umbrella so you're prepared for rapid weather changes. And now for the disastrous drone flight and our next stop, La Basílica del Voto Nacional. This iconic landmark is the largest neo-Gothic basilica in all of North and South America. Construction began in 1892, but it wasn't inaugurated until 96 years later in 1988. However, to this day, it remains technically unfinished because local legend holds that finishing it will bring the end of the world. Let's just hope some ambitious apprentice doesn't snap that last emblem into place by accident. I'm sure you can see why I was so excited to get drone footage of this incredible basilica. The wind was really whipping around and my last battery was almost out of juice, but I had to take the risk. I should have stopped right here when an uncontrolled descent took Minnie right into the top of the fence, but no, I had to try one more time on a dead battery.
We had to leave. We weren't allowed to use the drone inside the basilica, so now we're walking up another one of these steep hills to try again. But it's so windy, I don't know. And I see dark clouds.
Yes, those are power lines in my flight path. What could possibly go wrong?
not good. Too windy.
Javier went to go get the car. We're gonna try to stand on the car and get Minnie down with the broom. This may be the demise of Minnie. We will see.
I don't know if this
No,
is...
cogerale, pero cogerale.
Amigo, amigo.
No, no, ya, ahí.
Sí.
Baranda, sácate el buzo así, ponlo así.
Aguanta, aguanta. Cogerá.
Sí.
Ayudará a chupar.
Cuidado, Pedro.
No, no, ya, ahí.
Ponle con el buzo así como tú.
Una.
Cogele de arriba.
Aguantas, 1, 2, 3.
Ah!
Whoa!
Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias. Wow. JP, does Minnie still work?
I hope Minnie still works, but I'm really mad at Minnie right now for uncontrolled descent. The DJI Mavic Mini is known for having issues with uncontrolled descent in high wind, and it's not the first time she has plummeted out of the sky like a sack of potatoes, and it wasn't even the first time today. I was pushing full up when she bounced off the asphalt and went straight into the overhead cables. The construction crew across the street was laughing and yelling something about the silly gringo, but they gave us a 2x4 to dislodge it from the cables. Let us know in the comments if you think it's time to get a new drone. Amelia was feeling very frazzled after the drone-tastrophy, so Javier suggested a traditional Ecuadorian treatment to calm her down. For that, we had to visit Mercado Central, the oldest mercado in Quito. Javier told us he has been coming here since he was a small child, but it's a lot cleaner than it used to be. He seemed nostalgic for the old, authentic mercado, but it's probably a good idea to sell food in a clean environment. And it's the perfect place for Amelia to cast out her bad energy.
I am going to go get my energy cleanse because I'm feeling very frazzled after Minnie just crashed and almost burned.
The official name for this ancient ritual is the cure for the evil of fright, but I prefer to call it the herbal beatdown. Believers say it is the perfect cure for bad energy, so if you can't find a job or your business isn't doing well or you want to find true love, this cleansing might help.
Ooh, that's cold.
Amelia wasn't expecting the oral shower, especially during a pandemic, but it's pure cane sugar alcohol, so it's probably safe. And we were told that's the most important part of the ritual. The shock of being sprayed with cold alcohol is what casts out the bad energy. You have been warned. I'm not saying Amelia's bad energy is what caused Minnie to crash, but it's awfully coincidental, don't you think? You can find these healers in most of the mercados throughout Ecuador. The price for this one was $7, but Javier said it only cost $4 at some of the other mercados.
Gracias. Now I'm wet.
You feel sufficiently cleansed?
I do. I feel a little like the weeds, you know, the thistles, like that they're in my skin. However, I think I might need a proper cleanse later.
Total bien?
See, total bien. I actually do feel a lot more relaxed now, although I feel like I have a lot of plant fragments all over me.
After Amelia paid, we went upstairs and ordered some fresh jugo while Amelia picked plant fragments off of herself. Javier has been coming to this juice vendor since he was a little kid back in the 1970s. The woman in the photo worked this booth for over 70 years before she retired last year, and now her niece runs it.
So I haven't actually seen what I look at like post cleansing because she poured a bunch of stuff all over me. But we're gonna now rehydrate with some juice. We got a combination of mora y coco, which is blackberry and coconut.
Wow, it's really rich. I guess the cocoa makes it really creamy and rich. And these were $1 each, so this whole cup of juice for $1. If you smiled during Amelia's herbal beatdown, hit the like button to share some positive energy with us.
All right, it is time for me to go home and take a shower.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this video, we think you'll love that one, and we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.